The studio buzzed with the familiar electricity of a live show night. Bright lights flooded the set, cameras adjusted their angles, and the audience murmured with anticipation as producers counted down behind the scenes. Everything felt routine until it wasn't. The doors opened. Donald Trump stepped onto the stage with unmistakable confidence, waving to the crowd as applause rolled through the room. He moved like someone who knew the power of spectacle, smiling broadly, soaking in the attention, fully aware that every camera was locked on him. This wasn't just a guest appearance, it was a performance, and he intended to own it. Across from him sat Stephen Colbert, calm, still, watching. Where Trump radiated motion and bravado, Colbert projected something quieter control. He didn't rush. He didn't interrupt. He simply observed, waiting, letting the moment stretch just enough to make the audience lean forward without realizing why. The early moments unfolded as expected. Trump joked, gestured, laughed at his own punchlines. The crowd responded, some cheers, some uneasy chuckles. It felt familiar, comfortable, almost predictable. Because beneath the surface, something else was building. Colbert had prepared for this night. Not with theatrics or ambush, but with patience, the kind that unsettles people who rely on momentum. As Trump spoke, Colbert really listened, never breaking eye contact for long, never signaling where the conversation might go next. Then, without warning, Colbert shifted. He reached down and lifted a single document from his desk. The movement was small, but the effect was immediate. The audience quieted. The laughter stopped. Cameras zoomed in. This, Colbert said evenly, holding up the paper, is why tonight isn't just another interview. The room tightened. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't dramatize. He simply let the weight of the moment settle before continuing, framing the document as part of a hypothetical scenario, a fictional controversy that had followed Trump in this imagined world, one he'd repeatedly dismissed and joked away. For weeks, Colbert continued, you've said stories like this don't matter, that facts are flexible, that humor makes them disappear. Trump leaned back, smiling, waving it off with practiced ease. Stephen, he laughed. You've got great writers. Very creative. Some in the audience laughed. Others didn't. Colbert didn't argue. He didn't accuse. He just waited. That silence did more than any confrontation could have. Trump tried to fill it, jokes, deflections, playful jabs, but the laughter came late, thinner each time. The crowd shifted. People glanced at one another. The energy began to tilt. Then Colbert leaned forward slightly. Here's the thing, he said calmly. Comedy can bend discomfort, but it doesn't erase reality, even in a story. That was it. The audience erupted, not with shock, but recognition. Applause spread through the room, louder and more unified than anything earlier. The shift was unmistakable. Trump smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. He pushed back, louder now, called the premise ridiculous, mocked the setup, tried to reclaim the rhythm he'd mastered for decades. But the room no longer followed. The audience wasn't reacting to volume or bravado, they were responding to contrast. One man filled space, the other held it. As the exchange wound down, Trump stood, waved, and exited with the same outward confidence he'd entered with. But something had changed. The performance hadn't failed, but it hadn't won either. Colbert remained seated, composed, letting the moment end without a victory lap. When the lights dimmed, the audience left buzzing, not about jokes, not about insults, but about what they just witnessed. A reminder that presence isn't power by itself, and that sometimes the quietest voice in the room is the one people remember. So the question lingered long after the cameras stopped rolling. Was the reaction defensiveness or simply performance meeting its limit? The moment didn't end when Trump left the stage. In fact, that's when it truly began to echo. Backstage, producers exchanged glances, crew members spoke in hushed tones. Even those who had worked on hundreds of live broadcasts sensed that this night was different. Not louder, not messier, just heavier. Out in the audience. People lingered instead of heading straight for the exits. Conversations sparked in clusters, quiet debates, raised eyebrows, thoughtful pauses. No one was quoting punchlines. No one was laughing about jokes. They were talking about control, about composure, about what it looked like when confidence met resistance and didn't fully win. Asterisk at home, viewers felt it too. Asterisk social feeds lit up within minutes. Clips replayed not for humor, but for contrast. Trump's energy, Colbert's stillness. The jokes that once landed cleanly now played differently on replay, longer pauses, thinner laughs. Moments where deflection was unmistakable. Asterisk, and then there was that line. Asterisk, humor doesn't change facts even in a story. Asterisk, it became the quote people shared. Asterisk, not because it was aggressive, not because it was clever, but because it was calm. Asterisk, that calm unsettled people more than confrontation ever could. Asterisk, Trump, for his part, did what he always did best. Move forward. By the next morning, he was back in familiar territory, speaking confidently, reframing the night as a win, dismissing criticism as noise. To his supporters, it worked. To others, it didn't matter. Asterisk, because the night hadn't been about winning. Asterisk, it had been about exposure. Asterisk, not of secrets or scandals, but a style. Asterisk, one style filled space, demanded attention, relied on momentum. The other waited, listened, and let the room decide. Asterisk, Colbert never followed up with another statement. No monologue victory lap. No social media dunk. He didn't need to. The moment had already done its work. Pressing it further would have diluted what made it powerful. Asterisk, and that restraint became part of the story. Asterisk, in the days that followed, commentators argued endlessly. Some said the host had crossed the line even in fiction by pushing too far. Others argued that the guest reaction revealed exactly why the moment landed the way it did. The debate split audiences, just as it always does. Asterisk, but almost everyone agreed on one thing. Asterisk, the room had changed. Asterisk, not because of what was revealed, but because of how people responded. When control slipped, just slightly, out of one person's hands. Asterisk, that's what made the moment linger. Asterisk, not the document, not the jokes, not even the confrontation. Asterisk, it was the silence, the hesitation, the instant when an audience stopped laughing and started thinking. Asterisk, and that's why, long after the episode ended, people were still asking the same question, not just about the guest or the host, but about power itself. Asterisk, is dominance louder, or is it steadier? Asterisk, so now it's your turn. Asterisk, did Stephen push the moment too far even within a fictional setup? Or did the reaction prove that composure, not charisma, ultimately holds the room? Asterisk, let us know what you think. Asterisk, days later, the clip was still circulating, dissected frame by frame. Media panels debated tone more than content. Was it confrontation, or was it restraint? Was the moment engineered, or did it simply unfold when the styles collided under live studio lights? Asterisk, what stood out wasn't what was said, it was what didn't happen. Asterisk, there was no shouting match, no explosive walk-off, no dramatic declaration to close the night. Asterisk, instead, there was restraint on one side and persistence on the other, and that contrast became the story people couldn't stop talking about. Asterisk, supporters of Trump argued that he had done exactly what he always did, refused to be boxed in, refused to play by someone else's rules, refused to grant legitimacy to a narrative he didn't accept. To them, his confidence wasn't shaken, it was consistent. Asterisk, others saw something else entirely. Asterisk, they saw a moment where performance hit a wall, where humor met silence and didn't pass through, where the usual tactics worked just enough to keep the show moving, but not enough to win the room back. Asterisk, and then there were those who focused on Colbert. Asterisk, not as a provocateur, not as a victor, but as a study in timing. Asterisk, he hadn't chased a reaction. He hadn't escalated. He hadn't pressed when the crowd turned in his favor. He allowed the moment to land and trusted the audience to finish it themselves. In television, that kind of restraint is rare and risky. Asterisk, but it worked. Asterisk, because people don't always remember who spoke the loudest. They remember who stayed steady when the noise stopped working. Asterisk, in the weeks that followed, the episode quietly became a reference point. Not a scandal, not a turning point, a case study. Journalism professors cited it. Media analysts replayed it. Commentators used it as an example of how power shifts not through confrontation, but through contrast. Asterisk, one person tried to control the narrative. The other let the narrative reveal itself. Asterisk, and the audience, once passive, became the deciding factor. Asterisk, that's the part that lingered the longest. Asterisk, not the guest, not the host, but the realization that influence doesn't always belong to the most commanding presence in the room. Asterisk, sometimes it belongs to the person willing to pause and let the silence do the work. Asterisk, and that's why the question never really went away. Asterisk, not who won, but why the room chose who it chose. Asterisk, because in the end, the most unforgettable moments aren't the loud ones. Asterisk, they're the ones where everyone suddenly realizes something just shifted, and there's no going back.